Last week, we learned that the United States of America may have had what may be the most devastating cyber attack in our nation's history, and that this may have been happening over a long period of time. As we sit here this morning, there's a lot of confusion about exactly what personal information for millions of current and former Federal employees and workers were exposed through the latest data breach at the Office of Personnel Management. OPM initially reported that the personnel information of more than 4 million Federal employees was exposed during this attack. More recent public reports suggest that the breach was perhaps much worse than that. It's also unclear exactly what information was exposed. We would like to know what information was exposed over what period of time and who has this vulnerability. It would also be great to know who had conducted this attack, and I think we need to have candor with not only the Federal employees but the American people as well. The breach potentially included highly sensitive personal background information collected through the security clearance applications. We would like clarity on that position as well. The loss of this information puts our Federal workforce at risk, particularly our intelligence officers and others working on sensitive projects throughout the globe. But we're concerned about each and every Federal worker and the public who has interacted with the government and entrusted this information with the government. We need to understand why the Federal government and OPM in particular is struggling to guard some of our nation's most important information. The fact that OPM was breached should come as no surprise, given its troubled track record on data security. This has been going on for years, and it is inexcusable. Each year, the Office of Inspector General reviews and rates its respective agencies' compliance with the Federal Information Security Standards. According to the last 8 years of IG reports, OPM's data security posture was akin to leaving all the doors and windows open in your house and expecting that nobody would walk in and nobody would take any information. How wrong they were. Since 2007, the OPM Inspector General rated OPM's data security as, quote, a material weakness, end quote, because the agency had no IT policies or procedures that could come anywhere close to something that could be used as an excuse for securing the information. It's unbelievable to think the agency charged with maintaining and protecting all personal information of almost all former and current Federal employees would have had so few information technology policies or procedures in place. Let me just kind of read through some of the reports that have happened through the course of the years. This is the Inspector General from fiscal year 2009. This year, we are expanding the material weakness to include the agency's overall information security governance programs and incorporating our concerns about the agency's information security management structure. The continuing weakness at OPM's information security program result directly from inadequate governance. Most, if not all of the exceptions we noted in this year resulted from a lack of necessary leadership, policy, and guidance. Go to fiscal year 2010. We continue to consider the IT security management structure insufficient. Insufficient staff and the lack of policies and procedures to be a material weakness in OPM's IT security program. Fiscal year 2011, we continue to believe that the information security governance represents a material weakness at OPM's IT security program. Fiscal year 2012, throughout fiscal year 2012, the OCIO, the Office of the Chief Information Officer, continued to operate with a decentralized IT security structure that did not have the authority or resources available to adequately implement new policies. However, the material witness remains open in this report as the agency's IT security function remained decentralized throughout fiscal year 2012, FISMA reporting period, and because of the continued instances of non-compliance with FISMA requirements. It goes on later. However, the OCIO's statement is inaccurate, as there were in fact, let me go back. The OCIO's response to our draft audit report indicated that they disagree with the classification of the material weakness because of the program that OPM has made with its IT security program and because there was no loss of sensitive data during the fiscal year. But as the Inspector General pointed out, however, the OCIO's statement is inaccurate, as there were in fact numerous information security incidents in fiscal year 2012 that led to the loss of or unauthorized release of mission-critical and sensitive data. They couldn't even decide and agree that they had lost the data back in 2012, the fiscal year 2012, let alone actually solve the problem. Go to fiscal year 2013. Again, the Inspector General, the findings in this audit report highlight the fact that OPM's decentralized governance structure continues to result in many instances of noncompliance with FSMA requirements. Therefore, we are again reporting this issue as a material weakness in fiscal year 2013. Fast forward to fiscal year 2014. This is November of 2014. 11 major OPM information systems are operating without valid authorization. This represents a material weakness in the internal control structure at OPM's IT security program. It goes on. OPM does not maintain a comprehensive inventory of servers, databases, and network devices. They don't even know what they have. They don't even know what's in the inventory. Program offices are not adequately incorporating known weakness into plans of action and milestones, and the majority of systems contained are over 120 days overdue. OPM continues to implement its continuous monitoring plan. However, security controls for all OPM systems are not adequately tested in accordance with their own policies. Not all OPM systems have conducted contingency plan tests in fiscal year 2014. Several information security agreements between OPM and contract-operated information systems have expired. Multi-factor authentication is not required to access OPM systems in accordance with the OMB memorandum. This has been going on for a long time. And yet when I read the testimony that was provided here, we're about to hear some, hey, we're doing a great job. You're not. It's failing. This went on for years, and it did not change. The Inspector General found that 11 of the 47 major information systems, or roughly 23%, at OPM lacked proper security authorization, meaning the security of 11 major systems was completely outdated and unknown. 5 of the 11 systems were in the office of the Chief Information Officer, Ms. Seymour. They were in your office, which is a horrible example to be setting as the person in charge of the agency's data security. The IG only recently upgraded OPM to a, quote, significant deficiency, end quote. In November 2014, FSMA, over 65% of all systems operated by OPM reside on 2 of the systems without valid authorization. Sitting on 2 systems, no valid authorization, 65% of the information. And for any agency to consciously disregard its data security for so long is grossly negligent. And the fact that the agency that did this is responsible for maintaining highly sensitive information for almost all federal employees, in my opinion, is even more egregious. OPM isn't alone. A number of other agencies also suffered breaches in the last year. This latest cyber hack comes on the heels of several data breaches that cost the government, including the Postal Service, the State Department, the Internal Revenue Service, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and even the White House. And at the same time, government is spending more and more on information technology. Last year across government, we, the American people, spent almost $80 billion on information technology, and it stinks. It doesn't work. $80 billion later, and the person in charge of security, the person who's in charge of making sure there's authentication of our systems, even in her own office there isn't the authorization needed. OPM is not alone in the blame for this failure. The Office of Management and Budget has the responsibility for setting standards for federal cybersecurity practices. And it's OMB's job to hold agencies accountable for complying and enforcing these standards. The Department of Homeland Security has been given the lead responsibility for serving as the federal government's so-called geek squad to monitor day-to-day cybersecurity practices. But the technical tools that DHS has deployed to try to protect federal networks apparently isn't doing the job. While DHS has developed Einstein to monitor government networks, it only detects known intruders, proving that it's completely useless in the latest OPM hacks. The status quo cannot continue. We have to do better. We're talking about the most vital information of the most sensitive nature of the people that we care about most. The people entrust that information to OPM. And through the years, it has been a complete and total, utter failure, to the point we find ourselves where millions of Americans are left wondering what somebody knows about them. What are they supposed to do? And I've read the letter that you've been sending out to employees, and it's grossly inadequate. It's grossly inadequate. And that's why we're having this hearing here today. We do appreciate y'all being here. I think what we're going to do now is I'd like to recognize the gentleman from Texas who's the chairman of the subcommittee that we have in IT. We at the Oversight and Government Reform Committee have set up a new subcommittee that deals just with IT issues. We're honored and pleased to have Mr. Hurd chairing that committee, so I'll now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Hurd, for 5 minutes.